investigate, look further. And I would like to say thank you for everyone attending this morning. My name is Charlotte A. Coolik, and I'm from Atlanta. I grew up in Charlotte. My undergrad was in computer art, and I have grown up around two people that really taught me to have a love for objects. So basically, it took me a little while within working the program to arrive to assemblage art. But once I arrived, it was a great feeling. And for someone who does collect, assemblage has been very empowering to take all the special mementos that I find and treasure and to put them together. Because as I created these works, it's called Vulnus, and Vulnus is it's a Latin word for injury. So all of this artwork is really it's filled with personal symbolism, and it's also, as I created, like Fra Angelico, the artist, he would worship as he created, and I would also do the same sort of thing. I would ponder some of the global events and concerns and issues that I'm very passionate about, and I would take a lot of time and pray. And assemblage art is something that takes time. You are just in position holding until the glue takes hold, and that also requires some prayer. So it represents the residual emotional fullness that people experience when they have gone through traumatic situations. Obviously, with this piece, My Terra, you can tell that I'm very passionate about raising awareness that people do go missing. There are a lot of abductions that occur in our country and globally. And not only that, Charlotte, North Carolina is one of the top 10 cities for human trafficking. So that's something that I want to try to raise awareness of, and that's, I think I'm part of a movement that's happening rapidly. And there is an organization in Charlotte called the Lily Pad Haven. They help transition people out of trafficking, so it's starting to come up to the level a little bit more and be spoken of, which is something that definitely makes me happy, because with this artwork, I want people to purely enjoy the whimsy, the color, all the different elements and objects combined, and whatever message you receive from it, enjoy it. If it doesn't really talk to you, that is fine too. But I just want people most of all to think about their safety. And if you can walk away after looking at these pieces and have a little bit more awareness of your own safety and the safety of others and just about community, then I've accomplished something. Any questions?
Can you talk a little bit about specific things in the sculpture? For example, why are all the houses up on glass blocks and cinder blocks and bricks? And what's the symbolism of the pile of soil and the roots extending out the bottom of the small house? Can you just pick out a few of the specific parts of the sculpture and talk about the specific symbolism of those elements?
Yes. We will start, this is Want to Go for a Ride, Little Girl, and this actually stems from a memory as a child picking fruit and being asked by two strangers in a really nice muscle car if I would like to go for a ride, little girl. Of course, my reaction was fear. I had never experienced such fear at such a young age. So that's why the house is elevated at a child's height, just to help sort of suggest and represent children. And it's filled with icky things, also things that denote children and childhood. So I hope that when you look at it, you are able to pick up that it is about fear. Fear that little ones experience, because they really don't have the tools that we do have as adults to cope with the different experiences they might have. So support for children is very, very important to me. So that is why this is on the lower bricks, and the instability, because children, feeling secure, that can waver depending on situations and experiences, different things. So then moving to the shack, this is elevated up on cinder blocks because it is sort of a shack. There was a book called The Shack that came out, and it was a story about a little girl that was taken up to a shack in the mountains where she was assaulted and brutally murdered. It is fictional, thank goodness, but unfortunately, that's not the reality in our world today. So as you look in, it's all different found objects that children have lost. One shoe here, a teether, a pair of sunglasses, and it's elevated really to a height where I want people to take the flashlight and look in, because when people go missing or children go missing, we have to look for them. That's the first thing. And it's also so vitally important that it's done immediately. Because usually after 48 hours, there's less, chances become much slimmer. And also the dress here attached is just to signify the news stories that we do hear about people being held in homes, like the girls that were held for 10 years up in Ohio. So they live in a state of submission, and it's forced, not something they will choose for their lives, certainly. So that is representational of forced sequestration and submission. And then for this house, my Terra, this basically, I wanted it up on glass blocks to sort of support the metaphor about glass houses, because really, we live in neighborhoods, we hear news stories, you think, wow, I never knew that neighbor seems so nice, and you hear something horrible. So really, behind closed doors, we don't know what takes place. I am a feminist, but I wanted to be polite, so it's filled with references and different symbols to support my support for women, children, adults, people. I'm very much a lover of people and want to encourage and support people, so that's why I elevated it also to a height where adults it's easier to look in and check it all out. So, any questions?
About the frame above the shack?
And the frame, the frame is basically, I really liked the dust when I found it, and sometimes it's like memories get blurred, and when you go through traumatic events, it all becomes hazy. So I really liked that sort of inference, and also I didn't want it to confront the viewer in any way. I wanted it to be suspended above, so it's more suggestive of a thought instead of a conflict as you're looking into here. And lastly, just to give a little hope, looking forward, the root system, it's a jasmine confederate bush, and it is placed into the soil as I wanted to really show that with life, traumatic and horrible things can happen, but it's an ebb and flow in life. So it comes and it goes, and there is new life to come after bad experiences. So that is why I have the rootage system placed into the soil, because I'm here at this MFA graduation, thesis exhibit, and I don't really know what's going to happen in the future, but I know there's going to be some wonderful new things to bloom. So thank you, everyone. Yes.
I just had a question. What is the significance of the bed frames?
The bed frames, that is really to help support just the fact that when people, you do hear a lot of the stories, people have gone missing and they are molested, they're raped, And that's why I use the bedpost to help sort of suggest that subtly. Because I really don't want to traumatize anybody with any of the statements that I try to make. But I want it to be there.
If this one has the moment of hope, right, the roots in the soil underneath it, do these two sculptures have moments of hope that are embedded in the sculpture somewhere for us to find, or?
It would be something that would be a personal discovery for someone. There are some colorful, bright, shiny things, so maybe that does suggest a little glimmer of hope and light.
But not as pronounced as
Not as pronounced, no. Yes?
This is more.
Sure.
Is that like a fist, like on top of a lighthouse in the bed?
It is. And that is to suggest the violence that does take place when people do go missing. I mean, sometimes it's a wonderful thing. Maybe it's a natural, like a natural disaster, so they're spared as much trauma and vulnus. But that is to suggest when children go missing, it's usually not a very good experience.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.